All right, we are live. Welcome everybody to 12 Days of Cyber Christmas presented by Plurilock. Today, joining me, Anthony Green from the BC CPA. How are you doing, Anthony?
Hey everyone, nice to be here today. Nice to talk to you again on the Plurilock podcast.
Yeah, for sure. This is a new little thing. It's the holiday season. I got my Christmas setup here. I actually had a Santa hat I was telling you before that I meant to wear, and I forgot it in my wife's car. She went to work anyways, but I got my stocking here, personal stocking, some trees. Notice you've got a nice Christmassy sweater on there, very festive.
Trying to fit the theme a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. Things are looking good. First of all, thanks for joining the show. Let's talk quickly about, it's the coming to the holiday season. Some would say it's the holiday season. Would you say it's already the holiday season, or?
Actually, I call this the festive hacking season. As soon as end of October, essentially Cybersecurity Month, Awareness Month ends. These days, it's not just Black Friday, Boxing Day, Cyber Monday. It's Cyber Monday month, Black Friday month, right? So I call it the festive hacking season. As soon as October ends, or near the end of October, that's when all that people start doing all the phishing and stuff just pops up.
You could call it Hack Friday.
There you go, Hack Friday month.
Hack Friday. It's a mess sometimes. Talking about a mess, in 2021, we were just chatting about how, it's one of the worst years to date, maybe the worst year of all time for breaches. Unfortunately, I think I just read a stat that in the first half of 2021, there was more breaches than all of 2020 together. So obviously not good. But there was some other data that came out that shows, a lot more people are aware of the threats. Like 9 out of 10 Americans are very concerned about cybersecurity and things like that. So we'll quickly get into your thoughts on trends coming into 2022. But first, quickly though, do I understand, since we've chatted last time, you've maybe got a little promotion or a new role at CPA BC, or are you still in the same kind of function?
So I'm still, I'm the cybersecurity. Well, I think last time we chatted, I was actually the engineer. Now sure. I'm the cybersecurity manager of operations, or security operations and compliance. So I take care of both those two facets here at CPA BC.
Congrats, man! Congrats on the big on the step up. How does it feel?
No, it feels great. It feels great being able to have people we've now got some people under us under the SecOps team where it's not just myself, and it's been a lot better to be able to do a lot more strategy than just daily technical work.
Yeah, that seems like the goal, right? Like, how long have you been at CPA in total?
I've been at CPA for about 2.5 years now. I would say almost close to 2.5 now.
Mm-hmm. And we obviously don't have to go into details, but do you feel like CPA's gotten more cyber aware in those 2.5 years that you've been there?
Absolutely. So what I really like about CPA is that one of their main pillars is to protect the community. So one of the main reason why they brought me in 2.5 years ago in the first place was to have a focal point for cybersecurity. Now, CPA BC, for those of you that don't know, it's not for all of Canada. It's simply for BC. So we're not a enterprise organization. We're considered an SMB, small to medium business. We have under 200 employees. So we're not a team that SMBs don't necessarily usually have full-on security teams. So that's why 2.5 years ago, they brought me in to start up and be the focal point on security. And since then, it's just kind of naturally evolved into what it is now. And it's been great because CPA is very into protecting the public. So whenever there is some kind of, for example, we'll be talking about MFA in a bit. CPA is implementing MFA for their members if they want it as well, right? Because that's one of the, we're not only looking to protect our internal environment, but we're also looking to protect our external members as well.
Yeah, because it's such a big number of members that you guys have, even in British Columbia, right? What is it, 30 to 40,000 members?
Exactly. It's in around 36,000 plus. And, these members are CPAs, meaning a lot of them are holding high ranking positions in as a financial officer or a CFO, or they usually have a lot of potential for financial stuff. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. They're dealing with sensitive information, as we would say.
Yeah, it's easy to trick someone to send the wrong invoice to someone, and now you just made a whole bunch of money from someone.
Yeah, it's a risky world out there, and that's what you're in the business of mitigating, is that risk. So let's get into that. First of all, if you're watching the show, thank you for watching. We see some people coming in here. If you have comments, thoughts, ponderances about what we're talking about, let us know in the comment section, and we will respond to it. But yeah, you wanted to talk about kind of MFA trends, because obviously that's Plurilock. We do MFA. We're in the MFA space, so we obviously love talking about it as well. And it's such an important part of cybersecurity. What do you see as kind of trends in the last time that you've been looking at it through this year and going into 2022? Is it getting better?
So before we get into that, I do want to mention that MFA, or you know how we've seen the biggest amount of breaches in 2021 versus 2020? Well, this has the same thing has happened with 2022 versus 2019. It's just been consistently increased. MFA has time and time again been proven to be one of the most effective ways to prevent a lot of these breaches. MFA, multi-factor authentication, means that you have more than one factor of authentication, meaning for your password. Then maybe you have your phone, maybe your phone has a token, maybe you get a push notification, stuff around those lines. And it's been found that having an MFA helps prevent close to 99% of breaches. And that's just because there's so many breaches based on passwords and lack of multi-factor authentication. Actually, the CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer of Microsoft, Brett Arnault, he has a saying that I like. It says, hackers don't break in, they log in. Now, obviously, there are some hackers that break in, like that SolarWinds hack we saw recently, but 99% of them, they log in. If you are reusing your passwords, most likely a hacker will be able to breach your account if they try, because if you're reusing passwords, at least one of those tons of different services you've used has been breached, and now that password is on the internet. Hackers will then go find that password on the internet, buy that list of that breached website, and then reuse that on several other services. This is actually what happened to the CRA in 2020. They didn't actually technically get breached. What happened was a whole bunch of credential stuffing happened, where a whole bunch of users' accounts were taken, and people would try to log into those accounts. And that's why now you see the CRA having MFA, and sometimes even double MFA, where you have to identify your identity, I guess. And then after also do a OTP code. So MFA is one of the strongest protections against it, and now we're seeing pretty much every financial institution now even has MFA enabled by default.
You're totally right. It is one of the strongest things, and I like that saying. Like they don't break in, they log in. It's almost like they don't break in, they walk in the front door, basically. Because if you're not using a second factor at least, or another factor, then if they can get a hold of your credentials, they are you, as far as it comes to identifying themselves with your business system, right? Which is a scary thought, because they're obviously not you. So, you feel? Sorry, go ahead.
Like you mentioned the house, I want to mention a little bit about it. It's like if I left my key, I dropped my key, you found it, copied it, and then you knew that I might live in this complex, and you just went to each house and tried the key. It's the same thing.
That's right. Literally the same. And it's kind of, I understand where people go, oh, it's not going to happen to me. There's 8 billion people or whatever in the planet. But it's just like one of those things where there's so much more going on than you kind of think that there is out there. There's so many more people trying to break in and cause harm than you think there is.
And it's not even a person. It's a person who's created a whole bunch of bots that are now scanning and automating things. So one person can create this entire bandwidth of these bots that are doing like hundreds of thousands of checks to different accounts every day, right? So it's literally, and you can have hundreds of thousands of these people, right? So the internet is constantly getting scanned and hacked. That's just constantly happening.
Yeah, that's even scary. It's like, attack the robots, like iRobot out here, basically. So you don't have just bad people, you have their bot minions to defend against. It sounds funny, but it's not. And there's like an incredible amount of pain and loss that is caused by these breaches. So it's really, really serious, as you know, Anthony, and obviously as someone else in the cyber industry, you're trying to promote and evangelize the fact that it's much less pain to implement these security tools in advance. It's actually much cheaper as well than to do it in advance than to try and clean up, figure out what happened, try and get back online after a breach. So yeah, I guess what recommendations would you have to businesses, small, medium businesses, that a lot of the ones that you guys work with at the CPA? What's your kind of main recommendation if they're looking like, hey, I just want to start somewhere with security? Like what steps can they take?
Absolutely. So there's three main things that I always recommend for consumers. If you want to consider yourself to be safe online and creating accounts. One, have unique passwords for each and every single account. Okay, that might sound difficult, but it actually is very easy if you use number two, which is a password manager. Right? There are tons of password managers online. It's worth it to buy something like LastPass, their premium version, or Thycotic. There's a whole bunch. You can Dashlane, but essentially, what this will do is this will allow you to only have to remember one password, and then you can create unique passwords for all your other accounts. Now you might be thinking, but now everything's tied to that one password. Well, that one password is supposed to be very long and unique, and only you know. The whole point of the password manager is to essentially compartmentalize all your different accounts, right? So your Facebook account, if your Facebook account gets hacked, they're not going to have access to your Google account and all your other accounts as well.
Right. So
unique passwords, password manager, and MFA whenever possible. So MFA is huge. Again, stops 99% of password attacks. And a lot of times, MFA will actually notify you if somebody has your password without you knowing. So for example, on Google, I have MFA enabled and my password is there as well. So, and what I've had in the past is I've had a little notification saying, oh, somebody's trying to connect from Russia. Is this you, right? It shows up on my MFA now. And then I realized, wait a second, that's not me. Somebody must have either guessed my password or maybe I reused this password previously, and meaning I need to go change it. But I was aware that somebody has my password because of the MFA. Right. So those three things: unique password, password manager, and multi-factor.
Yeah, and I feel like even a lot of those password managers might have a multi-factor piece to it when you log in. I'm not sure. I actually don't use it here. We use a full MFA setup here at Plurilock, obviously, but yeah, like it you might be worried like, oh, well, you're keeping it in one spot and then that password can get popped. It's like, well, there's the MFA piece really takes the power away from just the password. That's just one part of it.
Exactly. Exactly. I know for sure you can add MFA onto the password managers. And when it's on your phone, you can actually even have it go with Face ID and stuff like that. So it ends up being even easier to use.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like one of the things that security people talk about a lot is like low hanging fruit. Like it's not like criminals only go for low hanging fruit. Like they go for, sometimes just the most valuable people, and they're going to try and find whatever ways to get in. But if you're one of the low hanging fruit where it's easy for them to just walk by and steal your information and then go find where you work and that type of thing, you just don't want to be that low hanging fruit. And if you have MFA, I would say you're not low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
That would definitely help. Like there's a saying where you're never going to be fully secure. You just need to be more secure than your neighbor, because they're going to move on to your neighbor. Because they're going to see it's not worth the effort. Now, obviously, when we go to when we're talking about Russia, Iran, North Korea, China, it's a whole different story. Those are targeted, state attacks. They can get in wherever they want. But we're talking about the average script kiddie, which is probably I don't know the number, but it's a good majority of a lot of the breaches.
That's right.
Now,
that's totally true. And that's good awareness, I think, to promote to all the people. And that's what you kind of do as well. You guys have at CPA a podcast, right, that people should go listen to?
Yes, at CPA BC, we actually do have several podcasts. What I do is I do the security podcast, where we try to get a security professional or somebody from our professional development roster of security professionals and other professionals to come and speak about different security topics, whether we've had MFA, we've had you guys on as well to talk about passwordless MFA and authentication, stuff like frameworks, security awareness, all the kind of general topics.
Right. Yeah. So people should go check out the BC CPA podcast. I think our CEO Ian has actually been on one.
Yes.
That was a great conversation. One of the LinkedIn users says, loving the conversation, great points on MFA and basic security steps. I would agree, Anthony, great points. Time's basically up. These are the quick chats up for the 12 days of Cyber Christmas. Anthony, thanks for joining us. Do you have any big plans this holiday season?
Not really, not any crazy plans. Maybe some traveling. We'll see what happens with this new variant. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it a lot. I think we've had some great conversations, and hopefully some people that listen will implement some of these tips, or at least some of the 3 that I mentioned, because I believe that by the end of this year or the start of next year, all 3 of those will be like mandatory, and it'll be kind of like the way that you go to like Google and they say, here's the minimum requirements for passwords. Eventually that's going to be a mandatory thing, because users are users. They're going to make mistakes. We need to how do we stop users from making mistakes? And one of the ways is something we can talk about maybe next time. Another time is going passwordless, where you no longer use the password. You can look into Microsoft. They're actually on the forefront of that. If you guys want some more information on passwordless authentication, look into what Microsoft is doing.
Totally. So there's lots of great information out there, even more of it coming from Anthony. So thanks for joining the show today. We've kept it festive here. I think we've created a little entertaining content for people to hopefully brighten up their Wednesday morning, their hump day mornings. December 1st, first episode of the 12 Days of Christmas. Thanks for joining us, Anthony. We will chat again, hopefully soon at an ISACA event, maybe in person, in Vancouver. That'd be amazing.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to hopefully meeting you in person one of these days.
Yeah, that'll be great. We'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Take care.